The scent of Shiuli flowers always reminds me of her, Parry. It was the fragrance that hung in the air on the night we met, a sweet, almost intoxicating perfume that clung to her clothes, her hair, her very essence. I was a travel photographer, always chasing the next horizon. But the moment I saw her in that quaint little bookshop in the hills, I knew my journey had found its destination. She was tucked away in a corner, lost in a book, a single Shiuli blossom tucked behind her ear. Her smile, when she finally looked up, was like the first light of dawn. We fell in love with the easy, inevitable rhythm of the seasons. Our days were filled with long walks through misty tea gardens, sharing stories over cups of steaming chai, and our nights were spent under a blanket of stars, the fragrance of Shiuli blossoms our constant companion. She told me the flower was her namesake, a symbol of fleeting beauty and poignant love. I didn't understand what she meant then. To me, our love felt eternal, as vast and unchanging as the mountains that cradled our small town. But Parry had a secret. I felt it in the silences that sometimes stretched between us, in the fleeting sadness that would cloud her eyes when she thought I wasn't looking. Sometimes she would disappear for hours, returning with a distant look and a faint tremor in her hands. When I asked, she'd just smile and say she was exploring, finding new trails for my camera to capture. I wanted to believe her. I truly did, but a seed of doubt had been planted. The change began subtly, a locked drawer in her study, hushed phone calls that ended abruptly when I entered the room. The scent of Shiuli, once a source of comfort, now seemed to carry a hint of warning. One evening, I came home to find our cottage in disarray. The locked drawer was pried open and empty. Parry was gone. On the table, a single wilting Shiuli flower lay next to a small, worn-out photograph of a man I had never seen before. Panic, cold and sharp, seized me. My search for her felt like stumbling through a nightmare. The local police were sympathetic but unhelpful. "People come and go in these hills," the inspector said. "She'll probably be back." But I knew this was different. I started piecing together the fragments she'd left behind. The hushed phone calls, the name she'd whispered in her sleep once, Rohan, the photograph. It led me down a rabbit hole of lies and hidden identities, into a world far darker than our idyllic mountain life. It turned out Parry wasn't her real name. The man in the photo, Rohan, was her brother, a journalist who had uncovered a massive smuggling ring operating in the mountains. He had been silenced, and she had been in hiding ever since, living in fear that they would find her too. She had run away, not from me, but to protect me. The secret she carried wasn't just hers. It was a burden of grief and danger. Finding her was the hardest thing I've ever done. She was in a different town, living under yet another name, her eyes haunted by fear. The moment she saw me, relief and terror warred on her face. I didn't care about the lies or the danger. I just cared about her. "You don't have to run anymore," I told her, my voice breaking. We'll face this together. And we did. It wasn't easy, and the shadows of her past lingered for a long time. But slowly, together we found our way back to the light. The scent of Shiuli no longer smells of secrets, but of resilience, of a love that was tested by darkness and emerged stronger. It's the scent of our story. Thanks so much for listening to our journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you next time.